friends, I'm Marlene from Uniquely Ella. Welcome to my channel. I have a quick, hopefully little flip for you today on these journals that I just finished. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I would love it if you give me a thumbs up. If you really like what you're seeing, if you subscribe, I would really appreciate it. I'm trying to reach my goal of 1,000 subbies by the end of the summer, so I'm hoping to do that. Okay, so let's get started on these. Let me give you a little background on you know, my thought process behind these. First of all, I did 4, which I told myself I was not going to push myself that much, but this was kind of like enjoyable, and I am a slow crafter because I don't want my projects, if I'm having fun, I don't want them to end. I enjoy like every little step of it. I just love it. So I love all, when I started collecting the paper and what inspired me, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit, I said, you know what, I think I can do 4 out of this project. Plus I felt bad. Some of my friends from my journals last time didn't even get a chance to get any. By the time they hit my Etsy shop, they were gone, and I felt a little bad about that. So I increased what I made to 4. So hopefully maybe somebody will get a turn that didn't get one last time, but I'm gonna try my best to try to see if I can stick to doing 4. Well, the inspiration for my journal came from well, I wanted to do a spring Easter journal, and this is definitely a spring Easter journal. There's a lot of images of little bunnies and stuff, but it can be a garden journal, it can be a devotional, it can be a one event journal if it's like a real big event, or you know, it can be anything you want it to be. But that's what I had in mind when I was creating it, was spring, because the weather's been just like really scary cold down here in the south, and I just wanted to be soft colors, but I wanted to add some of the saris. You know, saris can be a little bright, so I wanted to challenge myself to see if I can incorporate some of the sari trims, which I'm like crazy in love with, but keep it kind of shabby type of thing. That's hence the name of the video. So the inspiration came to me when I saw there's a lady has a YouTube channel. Her name is Angela Kerr. I'm gonna link everything and everyone that I'm talking about underneath. And she had introduced a digital paper collection called French Rabbit from My Porch Prints. And the minute I saw that collection, the minute I saw her video, I'm like, oh my God, this is what I've been in my head wanting to do. What I was looking for, something shabby and soft. And let me tell you, some of these digital artists are like amazing. I also, another challenge that I made for myself with this was to try, I didn't succeed, but I tried my best. I did use a lot of vintage, authentic vintage book pages, dictionary pages, music sheet, and stuff like that. But I wanted to challenge myself and keep my journals to just digitals as much as I could, because I just love them. I think some of these ladies are just amazing. Look at the layering, just the layering upon layering, and the softness of, I mean, it's just, it reminds me a little bit of Tilda paper from my friends. I don't know if Tilda's still around, but from my scrapbooking days. Just real soft and pretty, and the sweetest little images. I like rabbits, so this was like an easy. But when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, where have you been all my life? This is the paper collection I had in my head that I wanted to use. So right away, I knew it. Then I'm the kind of person, when I do my journals, I need to do my cover first. I don't know why. It's like I just need to do my cover first. So for my cover, I went to my friend Heather's store, which I'm also going to link underneath. Her store is Ruby and Pearl XO, and she's also on Instagram. She's an amazing digital artist too. She's just an amazing creator too. But I went to her store and I found my cover like immediately. I mean, I have all of her digitals, but that one, that was one of her latest ones. I didn't have it, and that's what inspired the cover. And I'll show you that in a little bit when I bring it up close. So from there, I just went on and started searching, and it's amazing how you can pick from different kinds of artists and put it all together and just kind of morph it into what you want it to do. I have Here I'm going to link all the stores underneath. I think I have 6 or 7 stores that I purchased digis from, and they all work together. What I picked, it all works together. And on that note, I want to feature somebody. She's an amazing person. She's also my friend. Her name is Roxy. And I use some digis from her store. I'm going to show you what I use from her store. This is her information on Etsy. She's got different kinds of, all kinds of digital. She's got some real pretty ones with a background about her work that it's beautiful. But I went and I picked some of the neutrals because you cannot go wrong with the neutrals. The neutrals can be incorporated into anything. So I picked some of her neutrals. I love this soft image. I love it. And I used this as the flap on an envelope in the center of the book, and I'm going to show you that in a little bit. I cut it in half and I grunched a little bit on, and, you know, roughed the edges on the sides. And this was exactly what I was looking for, and I found it. And then she's got the sweetest little postcards. They're not too big. I guess you could enlarge them if you want, but they're just perfect little journaling cards. They could be ATC cards. That's another thing I want to get back into because I love that. So I peppered all these things throughout the journal. So go check her out. She's a really sweet lady. She has an awesome YouTube channel. I can just talk about her. I've been her friend for years and years and years. Okay, so that's enough about my inspiration and the sources where I got everything from. So let's get started. I have 4 journals. They're 8x5s. They're paper with a lot of fabric incorporated. They're sewing all the way around. I'll show you that. It has 1 signature and a little bit over 100 pages. I mean, a page I consider like, if you know, I count like a doily, I count that as a page. So, and it got a little chunky, but I know that's not a problem because we all love chunky, so that's not an issue. They're almost, I can say they're almost identical, maybe like 99%. The only thing that's, the main thing that's different is the vintage brooches that I used in the closure. They're all a little bit different. I'm going to show you this one. Let's see if I can cover that up. I used a beautiful butterfly that I've been, you know, I collect jewelry and I've been saving this, and this is just the perfect, it's perfect for this journal. I have this one, which I love. I think my sister gave me that. It's a rhinestone little flower, which is really beautiful. And then this one is my favorite because, I don't know, it reminds me of my garden. And it's got a little bit of green, and there's a lot of green going on in the book, in the journal. So let's get started. I'm going to put these aside. Yeah, the primary colors are kind of like teal, pink, soft pinks, dark pinks. You know, like I said with the sari, I was trying to incorporate the soft and the dark. Mossy green, which I love, just little touches of mossy green, and like this really burnt, I'll show you on some of the seam binding, and that's also another challenge I'm going to try to set for myself. I love seam binding, but when we started with the sari, I kind of pushed the seam binding to the side, but I want to challenge myself and incorporate the seam binding, you know, more and more in my journals, because I just love the look and feel of it. Even, you know, the one that I crush up and the one that's iron, I love them both. Okay, so let me put these aside and let's get started. I'm going to try to go a little bit fast because, you know, I can be here for like a long time. So let me bring it up a little bit closer so you can see it. Okay, so this, believe it or not, doesn't this look amazing? It's not fabric, it's a print of a fabric. Isn't that wonderful? This is from Heather. And I did, this set the whole thing in motion because it had all the colors that I wanted. The white, the teal, the pink, everything. So once I had my cover, then I started doing my work and collaging and doing everything. Even if I use paper, I like to reinforce it. I like to reinforce it inside. And I also like to add fabric. Even if I don't cover the whole thing in fabric or something see-through or something, I like to add fabric, and I think that also gives it strength. But I started by doing a little paper collaging first, which was kind of hard because when the paper is so gorgeous, it's like you don't want to collage, but I did do a little collaging. And I did a little collaging here and here with paper first. Once I did all my collaging, which I reinforced the corners and everything, once I did all my collaging, what I did was I went ahead and sewed all the way around and in the front also. Then once I did that, then I started doing my fabric collaging, which is fun and I love doing it. So I got a little bit of fabric here. I got 3 pieces of fabric here. A lot of it is a sari that I bought from this one store where I get all my saris. Well, where I've gotten my saris up to now, and I'm going to link that store underneath. She's a really sweet lady. And I just love that place. So this is from my collection, from my stuff that I pick all over the place, and junking and clothing and whatever I can salvage. That's how I like to do my bundles, and that's what I like to do in my journals. I prefer to use things that are like, I don't know, that I recycle. I just feel better about that. Plus, it's different. I also think it's different. Nobody has them. They're not from a store. So I try to if I can. So most of the stuff you're going to see that's mine is from recycled stuff. So here's the pink that I wanted to incorporate, and some of the teal, and more of the sari down here. And then for the closure, I was lucky to find this. As a matter of fact, I think God put this in there for me. Because I was telling my sister, I was like, you know, I got my journals, they're already done. I just don't know. I want to use something flowy, but not too much color because I've got a lot going on. I prefer not to have any color, but I wanted to have a little sparkle. And as I'm telling her this, we're driving to a thrift store. And when I get there, it's what I found. So it was like awesome. I just had to tear it apart, you know, but it was exactly what I was looking for. It was like amazing. So that's the closure. In some of them, you're going to get the little stripe like that. And then in some other one, you're going to get the little paisley. But it's all really pretty. It's all really pretty because that's just how the print went. So, but, you know, I was able to get enough for all the journals. So that was kind of nice. So for the closure, all I did was tie that around twice. And see, there's a little mirror here. It's so cute. And then I made a bow, and then I reinforced the bow with a little pin. And it just comes right off. You can use it on another project, or you can leave it like that. I mean, I think this next to a vase of flowers. I mean, I wish my garden was going on right now. I would love to just keep a keepsake picture of it. Maybe like a little vignette of a little bouquet of flowers, maybe with a little candle on a coffee table. That would make my heart happy. Just walking by that and looking at that would make my heart happy. But anyway, I don't have any flowers. So let me show you these beads, because I was dying to use these beads. I've had them for a while. I think they're new. I don't think I salvaged these from any place. But I am in love with this color lately. And look at this cute little leaf there. So I love the feel of beads, and I love the feel of buttons. I don't have any buttons here, but I did in my other journal. But I made these little dangles. If they bother you or whatever, you can just snip them off. But I love them. And I think next time I'm going to leave it even a little bit longer in case you want to add some of your beads or some of your touches. So let me get to it. So it opens like this. I'm going to try to go a little fast. And I'm not going to point out this is a printable, because I will be here forever. But let me show you. Okay, so for the cover, what I did was that I made a little pocket here, but I didn't put anything on. I did a collage. First of all, I did a collage, and you can see some of the sewing around for the cover. And then I did this little pocket. This is like the very last little bits. I think I have like 1 or 2 little pieces more of this vintage tablecloth I found. I loved it. That this loose, very loose, how do you call that? Stitching, or I don't know how you say it. Stitching, I guess. But this is like crocheted. I mean, this is beautiful. And then it's got the fish netting on this one little corner. I love it. So I use that as a pocket, and you can put in here anything you like, or you can leave it like that. And then I did a little collage. I wanted another little bit of gold here with a little bit of pink. Okay, so let's get started. I also was trying to challenge myself not to cover the glassine bags. I love the look of glassine bags. They just make me happy. I love touching them. I love how they turn out. I just love them. So I was trying not to cover them up, but I failed a little bit at that. Here is the back of a glassine bag, which you can easily cut in the front, up here in the top if you want a little bit, and turn it into like a little tuck spot if you want to. But all I did here was put a one at oh, you're going to see a lot of Tracy Fox's labels. I'm also going to link her store. I am like in love with her labels. They're just all kinds of little sizes and all kinds of, oh, I don't have her, I made her a file. I have her here in a folder just for her. As a matter of fact, I haven't even been in her store I haven't even really had time to look at her other things. I'm sure she has other beautiful things, but I just fell in love with her little labels. They're tiny. Some of them are real tiny and cute, and I'll show you where I pepper them throughout. It looks really pretty. But anyway, this is one of her little labels. I used a lot of vintage book pages. Again, I broke my rule about just printables, but vintage book pages that I just love. I think this is a Dick and Jane movie, a Dick and Jane book, and I thought that was kind of appropriate for the book because I wanted like children's also on it. This is beautiful. I think this is Ruby and Pearl. Then I have oh, and also I made sure that I left plenty of room to journal on. I mean, it's loaded. It's 100 and something pages. It is loaded, and I did use a lot of the ephemera and the cutouts and everything. But I like to write. I mean, I'm a writer. I mean, a writer for me. I don't like anybody to read my writing, but I just like to put my thoughts down. So I am always have like this conscious thing that if it's for me, where am I going to write? So I left plenty of room to just journal wherever you want. This is a super sweet little tag that I did a little collage on in the back. I think I used 4 different pieces of paper. That's one of those little tags I told you about. And look at this sweet image. Isn't that like the sweetest thing? I wish I could have rabbits. And a little piece of fabric, and of course you can journal in the back. I just there's a lot of, most of my paper clips that you're going to see are gold, and I just left them gold because there's so much gold going on. I wanted to leave them gold. And I think this little piece of jewelry varies a little bit within the books, but other than that, everything is the same. So that was one of the first tags that I did, and I kind of put it on front of my desk, and that just kind of snowballed the whole book, the whole journal. It's okay, I'm not going to put that back. And this was in the back of the, this is also from them. This was in the back of the tag, right back here. Receipt, more wallpaper printables. You can color in the back. I am so running out of my tea stain and coffee dye papers, but I don't want to do any until my rocks, my little gravel stones outside heat up. It'll probably be a while because I love when they dry on my stones. The stones kind of burns them a little bit, and I get like a really nice thing going on. So I think I'm going to wait on that a little bit if I can. Look how pretty, look how beautiful this image is. If you guys could see this up close, you could see like all the layers. Let me just bring it up close just this once so you can see. Look at that, and look how soft. And look at this guy. He's like, look at the little veins inside his ears. And of course it's French, so it had my heart at a glance. So I went ahead and printed like double-sided. I love this paper. This is this is from the, I think it's the Ideal magazines. They're like Christian-based magazines, and I love them. I don't know if they're still around. I think they might be, but anyway, I have like tons of them because I've collected them throughout the years. And they had some really nice thoughts and writing and beautiful images on Easter. One thing that I also love is when my papers, when I have them outside to tea dye, and sometimes the wind will pick them up and they'll smash them against my little garden corral fence or whatever. And sometimes they break naturally. And I love that. I love when they do that. I could never do that if I wanted to on purpose. Here I did little ruffles all over with my sari, my pink sari. And I just put, and it kind of bent that way, and I left it like that. And I have some cute little mother of pearl buttons hanging there. And this is a tiny little piece of that sari trim, which is up here, which I love. This whole sari trim here. I had these like standing up a little bit facing me on my TV room just because I wanted to look at them before I mail them to people, because I didn't keep any for myself, so I want to just glance at them one more time. And the fan, my husband for some reason had the fan on to circulate the heat, and the fan was hitting on these little flowers, and they were all sparkling, and it looked like the book was like on Christmas lights, and it was so pretty. Okay, so this is the back of that paper. This is vintage. It's one of my second favorite vintage book that I own on shorthand writing. I love it. Sari trim. This is a printable. You can definitely journal in the back. This is onion skin paper. For some reason, my onion skin paper, I like to leave it white. I don't know why I don't like to tea dye it. Maybe I'll try it again and not put it on top of my little pebbles to keep it more subtle, but I just love it in white. So I did a little messy tab here with a little piece of sari. This is from that book again. And whoever gets this, if you have the time, just kind of read, because every page that I chose for this book has a meaning. And read, and I think you would like what you're going to read. The back, I left a little slot, and I have him. He's so cute. And I went ahead and I also, now this reminds me, I printed a lot of the images, a lot of the pages, some of them. I printed them like these. I printed them in black and white, no color, because I just love them so much. I wanted to see how many other ways I could use them. So I printed them black and whites, and I also put them throughout, and I left them like accordion fold so that you can journal in the back. Here, it's got 3 little slots. On this slot, I have a cute little envelope that I went ahead and stitched on the bottom. Isn't he sweet? And then there's a little tag with a little eyelet trim that I use throughout as a little tab. And you can put a little note in there, a little secret letter, whatever you like. In here I have a little card that I went ahead and added some pink sari, and then this lemony sari that I found that I thought went well with what I had in my head going on here. And let me show you on the tags, the cards came with little tabs that you can cut out and use them as tabs, which I did. And then I went ahead and on every single tab, should be on every single tab that you see, you're going to find one of Tracy's little labels on them that I added for like an extra layer. And they work so well with this. So that's here. And someone had asked me, I think in one of the groups, about this material, and this material came from a piece of vintage clothing somewhere. I just don't remember exactly where, but that's, like I said before, that's what I like to use as much as I can. I like to use stuff that it's different, that it's just different. And so I salvage any little thing from a blouse, from anything that I can find, I salvage. And a lot of, like I said, a lot of my bundles are like that. Plenty of room to journal on. This is from a book, from a magazine that I had that was all on gift wrapping. And I loved it. So I put the pink one. The other books have different color ones. This is, I love, he's so sweet looking too, and how pretty that flower is. Wallpaper. This is my ledger paper that I tea stain, and I just added a little tab there in the little hole. This is from... this is not a vintage magazine. It's a newer magazine. I don't know if it's a Reader's Digest. I don't think so, but it's one of my favorite magazines that I'm probably going to use it again, because my next journals that I have in my head, that I'm planning in my head, are going to have a lot of this. This ledger paper I love, because I know that red on ledger paper is not a good thing, but I love ledger paper that has red in it somewhere. I love it. I just love it, so put that in there. This I tea stain myself, and it's a little, I think it's kind of like a schedule or a journaling thing on gardening. I think this is not old. This is from either Michael's or Joann's or something. And I stained it, and I loved how it took the stain because the paper was very porous. This is such a cute image. I have this image in all the books, in all the journals. This is from a magazine. I went ahead and printed it. I love when my papers do that, and I love when my tea-dye papers just kind of fold and they just look like that, and that's how they dried out, and I love that, and I leave it like that. See how all these colors kind of work together. This is mine. Look how pretty. I think these are called camellias, and I don't have any, and I want some. This paper is mine. It has a little, I used to make soaps, and when I gift wrapped, I don't know if you can see that there's a shine to this paper, maybe not, if you can see it. Do you see that? There's a little sheen to it. I used to wrap my soaps that I made with this paper, and I had them all cut out like 12 by 12 or something like that, or 15 by 15, and they were in this box with soaps, and this paper smells so good. Even when I tea stained it, it still smelled delish. So that's what this is. And then I put a little piece of sari and a little sweet little image. This is from a magazine. I love that image from a magazine. And then down here I have a little bit, see, this is not rescued from any clothing. This is manufactured, but it's all I had, so I used it. And a little bit of sari down here. And then here I have a little pocket, and in this pocket what I have is a really nice ledger paper with lines, which I love, blank lines, so that you can journal your heart away. And since it had something to do with roses, I love it. And then this is the image that I told you that I printed some of the image in black and white. Don't they look just as lovely in black and white? I think they do. So I left the back blank so you can journal in the back. And I think this might be from my friend Roseanne's. So see how that all worked together? And that goes in here, so I'll put that later. In this, I have a lot going on here. I always like to do one page and load that one page up. And that's what I did here. Let me show you the back before I take it apart. I have two little things going on back here and all this going on here. Let me see. I'm going to be right back. Okay, I'm back. Here I have one of my clips that I alcohol ink that I showed you all last time. I have a little, one of these little metal tags that I tea dyed. I have a little, just a tiny little dangle here. I have a ticket, a little book that I did, a little tuck spot, and there's something underneath the tuck spot. So let me take it apart so I can show you. It comes off like that. So this is the ticket. I made a little booklet that you can journal little things on here if you like. And then look how sweet. This is one of Tracy's little labels. Look how cute that little label look. It just adds that little touch. And then this is a little tuck spot that you can move throughout. You can, it's kind of like, see this, you can use in any journal that you like. So I try to do my tuck spots in my pockets whenever I can. I try to do in what I call my neutrals, that I can intermingle them in different books or different journals or wherever I want, and if I wanted to. And this is from the French Rabbit collection, and the back is blank, so you can journal on that. And then here I just have a little card that I sewed on the side. Also, there's a lot of sewing in here. That's also very time consuming, but I love sewing, so that was fun. So back here I printed one of the images, but this one I printed in color, but you can journal in the back. I just love these images so much, I try to put them wherever I could. And then here, just a little card from the collection with a little piece of sari. This is from that book that I told you all. This is my line paper that I tea dyed. More wallpaper. Here I just, there's like 3 layers going on. This is from a blouse back here. Then I have something from a tablecloth here. And then a sari piece on top. Then when they're all layered up, it looks like that. And then I put this tiny little ball pin here. Okay, moving right along. This is from the Dick and Jane book that I really like a lot. Okay, let me get this clip out of here because it'll be in my way. Garden Another ledger paper all beat up, which I love. What else we got here? The back of my ticket. This is from that book that I told you about. And what else? Vintage book. My tea-dye that I miss so much doing. This is from a small music book that I have. This is a smaller doily. Another little collage I did here with 3 different pieces. Sorry. Got 3 different little things going on in here. So pretty. Let me bring it up close. Got light pink, dark pink, and that sparkly one that I like. Then here is an example of the back of a glassine bag that I could not leave it alone. I love how that feels. But I put this little image. I thought that brown looked really good with all the brown that I have going on. So I put him here. I think he's so sweet. He could be up looking at his mama. He's so sweet. I love that. That's probably my favorite image. Here I have a couple of pieces of sari going on too. I have the tablecloth, lace, and then that piece, which I really like. What else? More ledger paper. And then this is the center where I left the little dangles. And then for the center, I wanted to put something in here, but I didn't want it to be too bulky because this thing was getting so big already. And I came up with this little envelope. And let me show you the front of the envelope. See the little label there? See, that's one of Tracy's labels. Look how sweet that looks, just that little touch of that label there. And then for the envelope, I used the same print that I used for the front from Ruby and Pearl because I just loved it so much. And look how perfect this seam binding went with the, it was just like made for that. So here, all that I have is the little pin comes off like that. We put it to the side. It opens up like this. I just love the feel of seam binding also. And then for the flap here, because the paper wasn't long enough, I don't know, I don't think you can see it, but maybe you can underneath. This is where I use Roseanne's paper that I showed you before. I don't think I have it handy anymore, but anyway, this is where I use her paper. See, maybe you can see through here. Look how perfect that goes with what I'm using. And it's 2 different artists, 2 different things, completely different. And look how well it works together. So I added the little flap with Roseanne's paper here. Then I covered it with, I don't know what this is from. This could be, I still have a little bit of this left. Could have been a curtain, or it could have been a tablecloth runner or something, I don't remember. Then a piece of sari up here. It opens up like that. And then in here what I added was a, see if I can get it out, a loaded tag that I made full of little pockets. I did a little collage down here with this sweet little image, and then I put a little bit of sari here with, actually there's 3 layers going on here. There is the eyelet that you can't even see because it's right back here. Then I have that material that I have in the front of the envelope, that sheer material that I love using, and then a little piece of sari. And this is the tag. On the first little pocket I have, again, one of those little postcards that are so versatile. You can write in the back. You can actually fold this in half and turn it into a little book if you want, a little booklet. This is from Roseanne's store. This little girl is so sweet. This is such a sweet image. This is from French Rabbit. And then I went ahead and I did a little book here. Another little secret journaling book with wallpaper printable and lots of little goodies and things in here. And then in the back, right in the very back, I printed another one of the pages that you can just journal in the back if you like. And this is the tag, all naked. And on top I use more of the eyelet trim. I do like, out of the manufacturer stuff, the stuff that's not different, that's not from clothing or something. I do like, I think my favorite thing is the eyelet. The eyelet trims. I just love, love, love eyelet trims. So that goes in here. Let's keep going. The back of the ledger paper. Oh, here's another pocket. I couldn't leave it alone. Another glassine bag I could not leave alone. I love it. I don't know, for some reason I also like these more neutral tones images. See, and there's the bag. I did a little collage, another label. And in this, I didn't do anything to the back, I just left it like that. But in this little pocket, there's a few little goodies going on. This is from the French Rabbit. I love that one. I don't know. I think this is Azuzu. I think, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna link everybody, like I said, underneath. And you can journal, of course, in the front and in the back. At least this one in the front and the back, and this you can journal all in the back. And that goes inside the little envelope right here. Here we have, I went ahead and the edges are not even. I did it with either my ruler, which I have another one, I know what it is. I have this one, which I love. It's got different edges. And then I have this one. And then I have a plastic one, I don't know where it is. So I try, and they're all different actually. The ripping on them comes out different. So I try to keep all three rulers out and use different edging on all of them. So if I don't tear it by hand, tearing it by hand is my favorite. But sometimes when, like for this, for example, that I had to do so much, I didn't have time to tear everyone on hand. So I used the different rulers. And I like how that turns out. And I did grunched up a little bit. I used Vintage Photo very lightly. Very lightly, and I think it went well with all the beiges and creams. On the back of this little music sheet, I turned it into a little pocket. I just flipped it, turn it into a pocket, put these two sweet little tags. I love this little rabbit with the eye patch. He's so cute. And here I put one of Tracy's label and a piece of lace that goes in here. And then here I have a label also, because on the back I did a tiny little collage with some lace fabric and that image. Here on this little tuck spot already came, and it was already like, you just have to die cut it. I turn it upside down and I put this sweet little image. He is so cute. Reminds you of my little pearl. My little pearl. Look at the little eyes, how cute. And then I have a little collage going on in here. And then what I did here is that I have another little tag. See if it'll focus. Yep. And then another one of the images, this one in color. And you can journal in the back. I just love this French Rabbit so much that I, used it as often as I had a chance to without leaving enough blank space. And then back here I just did a tiny little collage strip right here. Journal space. More from the book. Plenty of journaling spaces. Plenty. I love this Old English rose image. So pretty. Oh my god, it's so pretty. I'm garden. You know how people get homesick? I'm garden sick. I miss my garden so much, you guys, you can't imagine. The back of that book. Here I did a little pocket, a little tuck spot, little kind of pocket. I sewed around the edges. Did a little collage. Let me just show you. I have some brown paper bag peeking out from back here. Just a paper bag that I just tore. I have a little strip of leftover. I try to use a lot of my leftovers from my, we all have that scrap area. And then another little label. And then here what I did, I tied it all up with the seam binding again. And what we have here is one of the pockets, one of the little envelopes that you have to cut out. And then inside I think I just have a little card, but you can put more things in here if you like. Tuck more little secret spots. And then I have a little ledger card that you can, of course, print in the bag, a little ticket, and another little card that you can write in the back. Okay, so let's put that aside. Oh, I love this. Let me show you. I don't know if I showed you that limey green color again. I love that. Let me see if I can flip it and show you that color. You know how when you buy these little sari samples, bundles? I have ordered from this lady like 3 times, and every single time I don't get the same thing, which is good, but it's also, like, sometimes I wish I can get that again, but then I'll get something totally different that's more beautiful, so I don't know. But it's fun because every time you order, it's different, and I like that. You don't know what you're getting. You kind of have an idea because you see the pictures, but you don't know exactly. More journaling spaces. Journaling. I love that. I don't know if you can read that. Stop and read a little bit. So please, when you buy, the ladies that purchase these from me, first of all, I want to say thank you. As I'm making this right now, they all found a happy home. I just could not believe it. I'm speechless, and I was almost in tears when I had something on Etsy, and it wasn't even there for 10 minutes. And I'm just like overwhelmed. I don't want to get into it, but I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. You have no idea. So anyway, more of the book. More writing space. I love this. I love these colors. Look how pretty these colors are in the book. I love that. That's also why it takes me a while, because I like picking everything that I'm going to put in the book. I like taking my time and picking. Look at this image, how pretty. Oh, I love him. He's so cute. I like the little mushrooms in the back. So here I made a little pocket, and I wanted to keep it in that green, so I used some of this, which has a little pink in it. Isn't that pretty? And then I have a little ball pin with a little bead here. And these are different in every journal. I didn't have the exact same thing. And this is the back of that glossy soap wrapping paper that I was telling you about. I made a little tuck spot, and I put, look how sweet this little girl is, this image is. Isn't she sweet? Look at her little socks. So that goes in there. And I use one of Tracy's label. Look how perfect. These little labels I changed, I think goes perfect in here. The back of the garden book. We're almost done. Plenty of journaling space. Plenty. I was thinking of doing a little flip out on here, but I had to control myself and stop. Guys, this black thing that you see here, it's not dirt. I crushed my finger in my garden not too long ago. I'm a mess. More of that ledger. Book. Plenty of room to work on. This is a very faint, super faint image. I love it. You can barely make out the little rabbit here. I love these little daisies so much. I love daisies. And this is the back from that gift wrapping magazine that I told you. Oh, this is the very last piece that I have of this tablecloth. I think I might have 1 or 2 little pieces left. I love it. It's so old. So I thought I was either going to use it on the bottom or on the top, but I'm glad I used it on the bottom. I love that. This is another little tuck spot that came with the collection. And then here, what I kept it, I did a little collage right back here just to put something else on the page. And then here, I did the same thing. I did another, I did the tabs with the little labels. Look how sweet that looks. So there's 3. Look how cute these kids look. And then I love this, a little rabbit in the dictionary, printable, super cute. So they go in here. More of that book, onion skin paper, and that's another little quote from the book. more journaling spaces. Back of the book. I love this image. I did use in all the books because I love the daisies. And I wanted that blue there because I wanted that blue to match that blue. That's why I picked that. And I'm 100% sure this is on all of the journals. And I picked that just because of this little rabbit. Look how cute he looks against that blue. So these are 2 more images. And that's how I like to do my journal. Not all, I want them to kind of look like it's an accident, but it really isn't an accident. I gave it some thought. So just some, I don't know. You don't have to do that, but I just like doing it. And then here, this came with, this is part of that collection, and I just put a piece of, this is from a tablecloth back here. And then more room to journal on. The doily, more room, plenty of room. So as you can see, there's plenty of room to journal on. We're reaching the back. Here I just put this, I love that. Put that little sari here. Dick and Jane, I have a tiny little glossing bag here that I also could not leave alone. I did leave this part alone. But here, all I did was a tiny little collage with this also came off a piece of garment, and this is sari that I had. Look how pretty that all 3 of that looks together. And then in this tiny little pocket, I just have a tiny little ledger that you can write a little something in the back, and then this sweet little image. Look how cute she looks. Wait, look at her book. She's reading a gardening book. I love her. So she goes in here. And then this is the back, which I also did a little collage, and then I sewed all the way around, guys. And this project took me a little bit. First of all, I'm at fault because I didn't want it to end. I had so much fun working on this. So if you have any questions on anything, if I miss any of the stores or something, I didn't link someone underneath, please just let me know and I'll gladly will do it. Okay guys, thanks for watching. I hope you picked up little tips or something that you like, and I love you all, and thank you to all the wonderful ladies that found a happy home for these. Okay, God bless you all. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.